Hi beautiful super soul sisters. Today we're going to talk about little step shoes, or incy steps sometimes shoes. So the little step shoes is literally those little tiny steps that we need to take every single day in order to achieve something. So we've done identify what the step is, the next step is being brave enough to take the step. But sometimes what I find is, especially as I was mentioning with you before, like if you're the super achiever type that wants to get somewhere as fast as possible, kind of like me, dare I say, where it's like, as quick as possible, I sometimes overstep. I take too big of a step, and then what happens is like it's too much. You can't achieve all of that in that space of time. Or it's like you're trying to run before you can actually walk, and you need to actually break things down. In NLP we talk about little chunks. So in the shoe psychology world, or my world, it's taking little steps. And sometimes, as long as we've got our monitor shoes on, we can actually check, we can reevaluate, we can be flexible, we can go, right, that's working, that's not working, when we're monitoring it. So where did I start? Where am I going? Was that step too big? Because what happens, it can put you off. It's kind of like, when you see all these ladies, we all know this, like the gyms, they make so much money out of all those people first thing at the beginning of the year, because they all rush off in there and then they go all out hard, and then it actually puts them off, because now they've got so much lactic acid burn in their body because they've gone full out too much too soon. So it's a whole lot of, what I say, a whole lot too late sometimes. It's like, oh well, I'm really got to, I've got limited time, I'm going away on holiday to Fiji or whatever it is, and I've got to look good in my bikini, and I've given myself 3 weeks to lose 50 pounds. Well, that's not really a feasible goal for a start, but you're overstepping, you're taking too big of a step, and what you need to do is chunk down. So quite often, handy little tip, and this is really the fundamental driver of shoe psychology, is taking little steps every day. Secret, the gold to improving who you are, the goal to achieving whatever goal if I could speak, I would say, sorry, whatever goal you want to achieve on your path going your way. It's all about little steps, because what happens is we're living in this whole world of overwhelm that is so much bigger and overwhelming than it ever has been before for us lovely gorgeous ladies trying to be mums, trying to be, sometimes you're not a mum, sometimes you're a career lady. And before, I remember when I had my kids, my staff were my kids, so I treated them like family. So it's that whole thing of, we've now got social media, we're bombarded 24/7 because we've got our devices, and we're supposed to just be on tap for everybody all the time. And so we're getting all these things thrown at us, and that's what happens, is the system goes into overload, and it spazzes and it stops and it doesn't do anything. It paralyzes us. Okay. And so what this whole process is removing that paralysis, where we get so stuck, we just don't know what the hell to do, so we do nothing at all. We're going to shift you out of that zone. Or you're the type of lady, it's like, well, I'm in motion, but I just don't know how to get there. So you're one of those two types of people. It's just like, I've gone into meltdown because I don't know, and as a result I'll just scroll on social media and just do something instead, or I'll do something that's not going to be beneficial at all. There's no steps getting me on my path, and in my shoes on my path going my way. So not useful, not conducive to anyone. So the whole idea is, when folks are in overwhelm, and I'm going to be doing an overwhelm exercise that I have, the Vicki Jane's wheel of overwhelm, I call it, and it really helps you break down all the areas of your life. Such a worthwhile exercise to do. It is so basic when you do it, but we don't know until we know, and this is the half of the stuff that I'm teaching here is like, we don't know what we don't know. And I'm telling you what I've learned over the years that I didn't know, that has made a big change, not only in my life, but so many ladies, that have walked through my door. Like, it has really been game changer stuff. And this is one of the things that will really help you get out of overwhelm, is to break down things into little steps. So it's identifying what shoes you have in your closet, what shoes don't work. Okay, that's one thing. You've got to be aware first, obviously. You can break things down into little chunks, but if you're still going in the wrong direction, that's absolutely hopeless, right? It's like, oh, so now I can easily go down the wrong road. No, we don't want that. We want you to get to a point where it's like, those work, those don't. Feng shui my closet, have it the way that I want, that I'm comfortable with, that works for me. And these are the shoes that I do want, but how the heck do I actually get there? How do I go on that path? I'm terrified to actually make the step. I've got to step up. I've got to have my stepping up shoes. I've got to have my monitor shoes in my closet so that I can test and measure, make sure that I'm going the right way. And these are all the little steps. We've got to identify what those little steps are. Like, if it's too overwhelming, go, whoa, I did too much too soon. Don't berate yourself for it. Everybody does it. So what? So what you do is you go, that was just too big of a step for me. So I'm just going to pull back a little bit and make it smaller. Or maybe it's 10 steps smaller, depending on if you're a big thinker. Okay, maybe I need to do a video about that, big thinkers and the smaller thinkers. When you're a big thinker, big steps are comfortable for you. When you're a little when I say little thinker, it's more detailed thinker. It's not little thinker. It's not the right adjective. I beg your pardon. I'm not being offensive. I do apologize. Don't want to tread on anybody's toes. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch that one. But it's about you really small chunks are comfortable for you. So if you are that inclined to be that person who has that more detailed approach, then that's great. You will find these little steps more comfortable for you. I often find that I have to help people in two instances: when they naturally a big thinker, and they struggle to pull out the steps that go in there, and I help them get clear on what those steps are. Then the second thing is when people are on so much, like, have experienced too much trauma or too much overwhelm that's been externally imposed on them, and sometimes internally as a result as well. So they'll end up doing kind of both because they've had so much coming at them in life. So if you're over traumatized, you go into overwhelm. So it doesn't really matter if you're a big thinker or not. You can get thrown off your game because you don't know what it is that you need to sort out. So getting clear, like I was saying, identifying what works and what doesn't is really important. So if you have a natural tendency to do those, details in life, you will find the little steps approach really useful, really handy, and very comfortable for you to do, more so than people who are the bigger thinkers. So if you found that useful, which I hope you did, could you please like, share, subscribe if you're in YouTube channel, and if you're in Facebook, maybe you can go hashtag big thinker, hashtag details person. I'm going to say details person because that sounds a lot better than little thinker. Little thinker just doesn't sound right, does it? You understand where I was coming from, and I do apologize if I trod on anybody's toes. It was not intentional. There was no black swan shoes wearing there. It was totally unintended. But the whole idea is so that we can take those little steps. So you might have a think as well. When you do that hashtagging thing, I just wanted to get an idea of, like, what types we have in the group, so that we can tailor some special modules, maybe. Also, when I talk and start doing my shoes of what's really going on, I can talk to that kind of specific group. Like, these are the ones that, these are the approaches that I find work for the more detailed person. shoe wearers, and if you're a more big thinker shoe wearer, then this is, and that gives me an idea of like what's going to be useful moving forward, that I can, what material I can produce for you that's going to help you. And, you know, like, share, subscribe, you know, join us in the Facebook group if you're not already in there. The Super Soul Sisters are all there to help and support. So, you know, let's get it happening. And I would suggest that you just have a little think about what was comfortable or maybe uncomfortable. I'm going to go with that. What has been uncomfortable for you that was too big of a challenge? But you could actually, you would be brave enough, you'd have your step-up shoes on, that you could actually take that step and, you know, break it, but just break it down. So it might be, for example, just quick example, before I go, it might be that instead of going to the gym 5 days a week, working 3 hours a day, I might do 3 times a week, half an hour. 2 of them, you know, it might be a balance session, a yoga session, it might be a pump class. And then see how I go. So you've chunked it down. Less is best in that scenario, and you'll find that you will stick to it more. And if you find that helpful, you let me know in the comments, will you? So identify something that you could work on, that you could chunk down today, and take your little step shoes and walk on. All right. Thank you so much. Namaste. I really appreciate you joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Namaste.